What up, brawlers? Welcome back to Throwing Hands as we kick off 2021 with an interview with Joe Holmes, who just came off a nice knockout at LFA 96. Joe, how you doing?
I'm great, bro. It has been awesome since that knockout. I've gotten a lot of attention. People really appreciate that technical knockout. It's amazing.
Yeah, it was a solid knockout. We'll get to that in a minute, but we're gonna start from the beginning. How'd you get into martial arts and MMA?
I used to just do football, man. I was really competitive, and then I wasn't playing for college anymore, so came back home and met the right person, and that led me to training at where I train now.
All right. So when did you realize that this could become a profession for you or something that could lead to a profession for you? When did you realize that, hey, my skill is so good, I can make a living off of this?
It was actually maybe my second fight. I fought a guy named Gary or something, but I fought for XKO in Dallas, and I was an amateur at the time, but I earned a couple sponsors, and I made a little change off of selling tickets, and it just excited me. It was like, wow, like I'm amateur, and I actually made like a few $100, just having a fight. Like maybe I should do this full time.
So you come from the amateur ranks and you get into your first fight in Bellator. What was it like going to that first professional fight?
It was crazy, man. I was like meeting people who I would watch television, and people I was fans of, or I was a fan of, and it was just crazy. It was almost like unbelievable that my first fight was on a stage so gigantic, but it was awesome, man. Like it kind of showed me like what level I'm on. Even though it surprised me that I was on such a high level so early, but it made me like really like know like okay, this is where I belong.
So unfortunately, you lose that fight. But in your post-fight interview with Pat Miletich, you said you thanked the opponent who beat you. What'd you learn from that fight? What'd you take away?
I just took away that a fight shouldn't be judged by people. It should be one person beats the other guy and somebody walks away victorious. So main like lesson I learned was that I can't let somebody else decide who wins my fight. I have to be the deciding factor of every fight I have for the rest of my life.
So you basically came to the conclusion that don't leave it up to the judges, finish it yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, you get back on the regional circuit, you get a couple wins, and now you move to LFA, which is a rising promotion. What was it like getting that call, knowing that, hey, I'm getting back up there?
It was awesome, man, because I honestly had been wanting to fight for LFA for so long. Like after I fought for them as an amateur, I think it was just like my third fight. So I had four other fights amateur and then three fights pro before I ever got a call back from LFA. So I was just like, well, this is my moment now, in which I fought on Bellator, but I really felt like LFA was my moment, that I just couldn't fuck up. Excuse my F bomb. I just
Fine.
could not screw that up. Like it was amazing. I was just so happy that I could show up and show out. And like the promoter came back there and he was so excited after my win. Like, oh man, we can't wait to have you on again and all that. So LFA was great.
So going into the fight, you had one COVID fight earlier. What was it easier after that one fight to train in the wake of COVID, or how did that change your training with COVID?
COVID, I'm trying to think, because honestly, COVID didn't really change anything about my career except for like how often I was fighting. Because we made a bubble so early on, that we just kept training, but everybody was like, got checked early on. So it's like, okay, all these people don't have COVID. You gotta go home and come to the gym. You can't go anywhere else. Go home, come to the gym. So we made a bubble and we were able to really train during COVID.
So obviously that training paid off. A few weeks ago, you get the knockout, punches to knees. What after that fight? What do you think's next for you coming up within the next year?
The next year, I'm going to at least win three more fights and have gotten a call from Dana, for a contender series. If he doesn't, like, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I skip contender series and just like start fighting with the UFC just because of like how weird my life is. Like, I wasn't supposed to have like a Bellator debut, like that's not, it's more common now after I've done it. I've noticed it's a little more common now, but before I did that, that wasn't normal. So I definitely expect to be right there at the UFC door by the end of 2021.
I hope to see you do that. And so, let's say 3 years from now, where do you see yourself?
Settled in, chasing a title. I'm probably going to be ranked like 15, 15 plus by then, and just be chasing a title. Hopefully, haven't taken a loss. I don't see myself losing again just because everybody I'll fight, I'm sure, will be close to my level, you know. And it's like, if anybody's like close to my level, like on paper, they're definitely not going to be ready to fight me.
Definitely. And I noticed that you're a pretty big middleweight as well. So I'm sure that comes to advantage. What advantages do you see in yourself? You're 6'4" middleweight. What advantages do you have, you think, because of your size?
Honestly, I don't see myself having any advantages at middleweight. I see myself on an even playing field against all my opponents at middleweight. Now, I really shoot to be a welterweight when I'm in the UFC because I know they'll pay for that type of action like a 6'4" welterweight. But it's hard for me to do welterweight outside of there because smaller organizations they don't really they're not really able to compensate at the moment for fighters, So things are just a little different. But as soon as I go to the UFC, yeah, I'll be welterweight every fight. That's what I'm wanting to.
Well, that's all I got for us today. Do you have anything you want to say to anybody, or I just like to let the at the end of our interviews let them say what they want to say.
Yeah, man. I'm just really excited about where my career is going. I just signed on with the Iridium Sports Agency, and they've been pushing me super duper hard. And I knew I'd get to the UFC without them. So with them, we're definitely going to be in the UFC sooner rather than later. And I just appreciate all my sponsors for helping out and all my friends and family for supporting constantly.
All
And
right,
you
Joe.
for your time.
Oh, thank you. Where can people find you on social media?
I'm Ugly Man Joe on all social media outlets. Ugly Man Joe, it's a little wrinkled, but yeah, man, anything is Ugly Man Joe. YouTube, Snapchat, Instagram.
All right. Well, Ugly Man Joe, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah, same to you, brother. Thanks again for your time.
Of course, and thank you for coming on, Ugly Joe, everybody.